Hi guys, whether you're watching on Twitch or YouTube later on, I am GreyedOutMan and I'm here with our latest Super League winner, which is Vitasoy. Welcome Vitasoy, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
No worries. So just to set a bit of a background, I think your story is quite a cool one. It's sort of like the first sort of development story we've had in the competition, because in the first edition, those of you who knew, you were very close, and you had a lot of people sort of supporting you and saying, go for it, and you didn't quite make it over the line, but it must have felt good to have loads of people supporting you, yeah.
Yeah. Also for that season, my very last submission, I had like 252. I thought that was enough to pull me ahead.
I think
But
from
then
what I
he just
remember,
had
I
a
think
crazy season.
you actually submitted first, and I just thought to myself, he's won.
Oh yeah,
There's no way he's going to get
yeah,
caught here. But you did just get pips at the post, but you've made up for that in the second season, so that must feel good.
yeah. Barely too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I've had a look through, and I have to say, wow. I mean, like, I played in the previous. I don't think it was my save, but I played in the previous edition with Sturm Graz, and none of us got anywhere near Salzburg. Or at least I think one person managed to win the league, but you managed to win 3 out of 4. So my first question is very simple: how?
I so before like the previous seasons, I was able to at least like win one, draw one. But this season, I don't think I could. Like this season, they were unbeatable for me. I couldn't beat them. I think it's also because I switched tactics. But in previous seasons,
yes, but I'm sorry.
yeah,
When I say 3 out of 4, I mean league titles.
all league titles.
Yeah.
Basically, you just have to win every other game.
Yeah. No,
That's
obviously.
not Salzburg.
Yeah.
The other hard
Well, I mean,
team
you
to
say
beat
that
was Rapid.
you only lost them once in that last season out of the is it 3 or 4? Um,
It was 3 games I played them, I think,
yeah, I think it's
this
3. I
season.
think it's
Yeah.
3. Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
So you obviously, I mean,
Sorry.
because I was having a look earlier at your most recent games against Salzburg, and I reckon from what I saw of it, I think you. Sorry, hold on. Let me just get it up. I think you had because you hadn't lost for quite a long time, from what I remember. Let me just. Sorry, for some reason I've got the friendly screen.
Yeah, I remember that too. I was on a long undefeated streak, and I played Salzburg, and then it was a close game too. With them, it's always a close game.
Yeah, it was just one defeat in the last 7 though, so that was
Yeah.
pretty good. What was the kind of key to your success there? Was it like a specific tactic or?
I just trust in my tactic. I don't really change the tactic. The most I would do is maybe change the width or the tempo
Yeah.
and the directness, and I feel like that
So just
has a lot
just
of effect.
keeping it
That's
fairly
basically it.
kind of similar throughout was helpful, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. Usually, I like just keeping one tactic throughout the entire season because when you have new signings and whatever, it's the team cohesion I think is really important, and also like the
100%.
familiarity with the tactic is also really important.
That's
So
certainly
I
true.
just
And it
go
looks
with
like you
that. Yeah.
used this 4-3-3 formation mostly in that, at least in the final season. I don't know about other seasons, but
Oh
that
yeah,
looks like
for
the one that you
so
used.
yeah, so this 4-3-3 tactic, I sort of just made it on the spot in a different save with Luton, and then in that season with Luton, we won the league in our second season up from the Prem.
Wow.
So I thought, yeah, so I thought might as well use it for here too because it was really like the solidity. It was really defensive solid. So
Hmm.
I thought use it here, and then also if you see we conceded only 22 goals
Yeah,
in 32 games, which is really good.
definitely.
And then also, I brought in a new keeper, Marin. His stats are really good for a keeper in the Austrian Bundesliga. When I look in a keeper, I really prioritize their one-on-ones and reflexes. And then I think having a good keeper is also really important because in the previous season, the guy on my bench, Loman Zraben,
Yeah.
he
We've got
wasn't
him up. Yeah,
he wasn't that. I just signed him last season,
yeah.
but he wasn't that
And he
good.
was
So I really prioritized the keeper this season.
Yeah.
And
I mean that clearly has made a big difference to you.
yeah,
What about
yeah,
what
yeah,
about the
definitely.
tactic though? What do you think it is that makes it so solid? Because I mean, look, I'm looking at it now, and I'm
Um,
no expert with this, but it looks fairly standard to me. But there's obviously something that worked.
I think the the main thing that makes this tactic work is that deep line playmaker and defend, and the inverted wing backs, in my opinion. Because
I noticed you had two. That's quite unusual to have two of them.
Yeah, I have Perot on attack because he has really good crossing, and I always have the more defensive guy on the support. So Bourne is, I think, center back. He's also a center back, but I played him at right back. I think it helps because in the build-up play, you'll have, instead of like a box midfield or whatever, you have like 5 in that midfield.
It certainly would give you overloads in the midfield. I can certainly see that.
Definitely. You build out easily, and then having 2 wingers out wide, a lot of times you could just play out of them, and then if they're good at one-on-ones, you usually get into the attacking third really easily. Yeah. Also, if you do lose the ball somewhere in the midfield, that deep-lying playmaker, I found that he usually covers the spaces left behind by the inverted wing back.
Well, because I was going to say the obvious problem there is being exploited by sort of fast wingers down the wings.
Yes, exactly. But having versatile center backs too. I think Decker can also play left back too. Really helps because my deep line playmaker usually covers the empty spaces. So if he drops back, we'd have like a 3-back, and then
so Decker can go further wide.
Forms, and then the wing backs form that double pivot there.
That makes a lot of sense.
And then they have enough times to come back. Yeah.
So this is very much a tactic that you've built sort of for the team you have, or did you sign the players for this tactic?
So the third season I was playing a 4-2-4. I think I have it in the second slot in the tactic part.
Yeah.
And then that tactic netted me 95 goals the previous season, and I was sort of building towards that. And then I don't remember why I changed to the 4-6-3 for the final season. I think it's because I signed Hato, and I had a lot of midfielders because I prioritized signing midfielders in the window, which I think I could have strengthened my defense. But anyways, since I had a lot of midfielders, I thought I just used the 4-3-3 tactic that I used, and in my experience, it's worked really well. So I thought just go give it a try.
Certainly, several of your best players, according to your assistant anyway, some of your best players are midfielders, so that does make sense.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so that first season, talk me through the first season, because you lost out by 3 points, I think it was, in the first season. That must have been frustrating.
In the league?
Yeah.
Oh, I think also in the cup too. I lost out to Rapid. I think in the first season I was just trying to figure things out because I'm really unfamiliar with like playing outside of like a bigger league.
Oh yeah, that is after all the point of the FMUL is that we all experience leagues that we haven't been in before. So that's great. I mean that's why we're playing it. So it's fantastic to hear.
Yeah. So I was obviously I needed to beat Salzburg to win the league, but I don't. I'm trying to remember what happened in the first season because, we got pummeled by Salzburg.
I think you did get absolutely battered by them once. Yes, although I noticed you battered them later on in the save as well.
Oh yeah, I was surprised when we battered them too because. Yeah.
You got murdered 7-2 in the championship group by them, but I think you got a similar win against them later on. In fact, actually, that was one of the things I was going to speak to you about actually, because in the March you won 5-1 against Salzburg away, and then you lost 7-2 away against them just a few weeks later. That was odd.
I know. I found in the season sometimes Salzburg aren't that hard to beat, and then they come around the second time and they just absolutely come out to play and hammer you.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, what do you think was so different between the 5-1 win and the 7-2 defeat just a month later?
I honestly could not tell you. I don't know. Yeah. I played the same lineup, same tactic.
Yeah.
Same like everything with
FM can be weird like that, can't it?
Yeah, and then like the same marking and everything, and then I just got battered 7-2.
Yeah. So when you lost out by those 3 points in season 1, did you kind of feel that you kind of knew you'd win the other 3 at that point, or did you think this might be difficult?
I honestly thought my first season was really good.
Yeah,
Coming in
but you
second,
thought, like,
I thought with the players I was given, I thought
oh
I
look,
did really well.
that's definitely true. I mean, you've just been promoted, so there's no reason why
Yeah.
you should have been finishing second. But did you feel at that point that you could take that next step and win the other 3?
Yes, because I think I sort of realized that I don't really have to beat Salzburg every game to win the league.
You just got to win all the others.
To draw the games, and then I just had to focus on winning every other game. And then I think the tactic I have is just really good. With the 4-2-4 I was using that season, it was just really good at limiting shots from bigger sides, because it was sort of like soak up the pressure route one, just kick it up to your target forward.
Yeah.
And then it's also really solid defensively. So I remember in my other save with Luton, same example, I used the same tactic, and then we could limit like Man City to like no shots on target. So I was just hoping that I could just limit the goals scored by Salzburg and just hoof one up to my target forward and get one on the break. So, yeah.
And in the case of the game in March, that massively worked. You got 5 goals.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So let's go into some signings then. Like I've had a little look through, and I was wondering who do you think were the kind of key signings you made? I had a couple of names, which were Shopov and Burmester. Are there any others that kind of stood out to you?
Burmester and my left Demirovic.
Demirovic.
Demirchan.
Demirchan.
He was really good.
Demirchan. I've got
my wingers.
Free from Bayern. Yeah.
Yeah, free from.
Yeah,
Bayern.
you're right. He's done very well as
Burmester-
well. Yeah, you're right. I missed him. And then
Burmester was also really good.
Shopov was. Just remember when you bought him. Hold on. Where did you find him? Here we are. Yeah, got him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the
Shopov was also really good.
couple of very, very good players you got there for sure. Any others that I might have missed? Just noticed you got Kovacic. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, I had Kovacic for one season on a free. He was really. I think it was the season where the challenge was 30 points if you scored 100 goals.
Oh yeah.
He was really good that season, like providing assists. I had to let him go because he was getting up there, and then also he was demanding too high wages that I really couldn't afford.
Yeah, and also he's presumably very old by that point as well.
Yeah. I honestly, I think, yeah, the signings you just mentioned were all really good. Also, Perot was also I think was also a really important signing for me because at that left back position he was really good.
It's a brave signing that to sign someone as old as what do you mean 31 or 32 when you signed him. It's brave.
Yeah,
it's clearly worked.
And I was just looking at his crossing stat honestly, and his work rate was still really good. So I had him played as a complete wing back for one season, and then also an inverted wing back on attack. So
yeah,
both those positions, I think are really reliant on like his crossing ability, and then especially when you have a target forward in that other season, he just a lot of times when he crossed it, my 2 forwards got to the end of it, so which was really good. Yeah.
So what about your final transfer window? Really interests me because you kind of you think to yourself you've got what 4 months left as manager there, maybe 5 months left, and you paid about over 50 million quid which for an Austrian team is ridiculous. It's unheard of. Like why? I guess is the first question. Was it just like a Hail Mary? Were you worried that you might not win the league?
So I think my initial budget was somewhere in like high 20s. So my first thought was to sign Marin, the keeper. And then I think in the transfer, I just did a bunch of installments. The guarantee, let me double check.
I'm thinking really about the January one with Fort and Hernandez.
Fort and Hernandez. I need a new center back, really, because Alvaro was injured. So I had to play Born into center back, and then luckily I had Pupil, which was also really good wing back too.
Yeah.
So, but for that, there was like he was injured for like a month or something. So I had no other backup options if another defender got injured. So
Sure.
I had to sign a center back, and then I was looking at his attributes, and I was like, this guy isn't like he's gonna be really good for the
You're
Austrian
absolutely
league.
right. He
I
looks like
had
he
to
should
get
be,
him.
but he clearly hadn't worked. So.
No, he was not good at all.
No, it's
He didn't
interesting.
work.
No.
I was just trying to strengthen the squad as much as I
Yeah,
can.
it makes complete sense. I can see why you signed him.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
it's interesting.
He looked absolutely incredible, but
You get that
he was not
sometimes. Like there have
incredible.
been times when I've signed players. I'm thinking like, how on earth have I got this guy? He looks absurdly good for this level, and he's just not done it. So it does happen.
I yeah. I think I was also looking at his. I don't think my scouts got his adaptability, so maybe it wasn't that good. That's why
Yeah,
he didn't
yeah,
like play well. But like he, I think if he's like on a big squad in like the Prem or some big top five league and you play him a lot, he's gonna become like a world class player because of his 17 determination too.
sure. Yeah,
I think he's just
just wasn't
really
quite ready
really
yet.
good. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not ready. Yeah.
that makes sense. There's one other name I want to talk about in terms of transfers, and that's Andrew Moran. And I'm sure you know why I'm asking about him. Talk to
Oh
me.
yeah. So I got him on a free
Yeah,
because I got him a free. He was on a free transfer. His attributes were also really good in my
yeah,
opinion for the
yeah. It
Austrian
looks
league.
good.
And then I did the transfer window before the challenges came out, and then I just saw and then the challenge was get a profit of 10 million. So I was looking through my squad, seeing whose market value was 10 million, and then so the only few players that were 10 mil was the keeper, was Demir Chan, and then Burmester, but like a lot of those players were key players for me. I haven't used Moran yet, so I thought, okay, I was gonna transfer list him, then offer him out. The first time I did that, apparently I was only gonna get 7 million, so I played him a bit. He scored a goal, and then suddenly, teams were trying to get him for like 10 plus mil. So I thought I was really lucky that for that Moran signing,
Okay, cool.
because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I just got really lucky.
I looked at that and I'm thinking, how on earth have you managed to sell him? Because I'm just in terms of persuading him to move must have been an interesting one. Did
Yeah,
he get very upset when you wanted him to move?
oh yeah, he did not want to go.
I can imagine.
He
He was there for
fine,
2 months.
Yeah, there were honestly no other players I could
Yeah,
have
no, man,
done
that
that
bit makes
with.
sense. I just can't quite understand how you managed to persuade him to leave.
I I W Riz, I guess.
Yeah, no, sure. The other area I always like to look at, just because it's the part of FM that I love the most, is your
Yeah.
youth academy grads. It looks to me, looking through it,
Oh,
like
I
you had
was
two,
yeah.
Born and Barons. Is that right? They're the two
Oh,
kind of
I
main
had
ones.
there were a couple. Yeah, Barons. Walters was also a really good backup option for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he came on a lot,
Bourne
didn't
was
he?
also yeah. Bourne was the key player for me the entire 4 years. I tried
Yeah.
to use them the entire time because the first season I got here, I was trying to find academy graduates. I saw Bourne. I'm like, I have to use this guy.
Yeah. I
And
mean, he's
then
perfectly solid enough to play
yeah,
as a right back for an
yeah,
Austrian
yeah.
team for sure.
And then in the last season, I got this guy called Lechner,
Yeah, I
and
saw
I
Lechner
think
as well.
give him a few years, give him another season or two, and
He
he'd
would have
be
been,
a
yeah.
starter for
And
this team.
that's what always frustrates me about FMUL. I love it, but the frustrating thing is when you get someone like this right at the end and you're just like, oh, I want to see the next few years of
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
But yeah, you're right.
yeah,
He'll be very, very good for the Austrian league. Don't think he's quite world
yeah.
class, but he's pretty good.
No, he's gonna look at his physicals
Yeah,
already at 19. I think
they're very, very good.
if you could get it up a bit, yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, that's
I
fantastic.
was really reliant. My main key at the end was just play as many youth academy players as I can
Yeah.
to get more points.
Yeah, no,
So I was just
it's a
yeah.
way that I generally tend to play as well because it's an easy way to do it. Plus, I find it quite fun.
Yeah.
The other,
I
go
yeah.
on.
No, I was just hesitant to play some of them in like the first first and second season because my squad was probably not as good as it is now.
And that's the
So
thing.
I
If you got a couple of them
yeah,
in a really strong squad, you can get away with it. But if they're all a bit weak,
yeah, exactly.
certainly one of the things I've been thinking about with my current squad, and without giving too much away, is that they're not very good. So I'm thinking I might just play just youth players because I've got quite a lot of players. They're not ready yet, really, but they have got huge
Yeah,
potential. And I think like for some
yeah,
of the kind of more senior players, they're doing so badly. I'm thinking like the youth players can't do any worse. So it just might be
yeah.
worth it.
Sometimes I find if you play them too much, and if they don't perform, they don't develop that well either. So
That's
I think it's
interesting.
just
So
in that
you
sweet
can't
spot.
stick with them if they don't improve. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
The other thing I noticed as well is that in the Champions League, you actually went
Oh
one
yeah,
better every season. So you got into the league phase the first year, then the second year you got to the knockout round, and then the
yeah,
third year you got into the fourth year you got into the round of 16. So that's quite impressive. I
yeah.
bet you wish you carried on for a few more years so you could win it.
I don't think I was ever gonna win it. I think it's impossible to win it in from an Austrian team with this
I
budget.
doubt it's impossible, but
When
it
you're
would certainly.
dealing with teams like PSG and
Yeah,
Real
yeah.
Madrid, when
I
you
doubt it's
can never
impossible,
win
but
it.
I do think it may well have taken you a bit longer than that. But yeah.
Oh, I probably needed half a century to do that.
Well, maybe. I mean, you got some good wins in there. You know, beating Juventus
Oh
away.
yeah,
That's impressive.
I was surprised that we beat Juventus. I thought when I got the list, I thought our must-win games had to have been Copenhagen,
Copenhagen, Apoel,
Villarreal,
and Villarreal,
APO, EL.
and
I
maybe
thought
Brighton.
Brighton and PSV were also chances for me to get the win. When we beat Juventus, I was honestly pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I mean
And
that's a
also,
terrific
we
result.
fought before that. We only lost 1-0 to Bayern, who topped the league phase. I was really surprised that we honestly probably should have won that game too. I think.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Also against Chelsea in the first leg of the round of 16, we had better numbers. I was actually devastated that we lost that tie. In fact, because
God, you're
in the
right.
first leg
You're absolutely right.
we
Could
had
easily have
such a
won it.
strong first leg.
Yeah, could easily have won that game. Easily.
Yeah, and then
It's interesting
the
how many of the
previous
Chelsea
season,
players are still the
yeah.
same. Good 10 years into the save. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, yeah, and the previous seasons too. The second season I just missed out on like the playoff knockout, like with the before the round of 16, and then in the third season I finally made it. But I think against the tie against Feyenoord, I think it was the high scoring aggregate score. I forgot what it was, but we couldn't
Wow.
keep it
Yeah,
out.
7-6.
But we couldn't score more than them. I
Yeah.
think if I had a better keeper that season, I think we could have gone
Yeah.
to the round of 16 too.
Well, you've certainly done really well there. I have to ask this as a Gooner? I just have to.
Yes.
Did
Okay.
you enjoy being absolutely spanked by Arsenal back in January 2030?
I wanted to cry. I wanted the game to end so badly.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was
I,
terrible.
I just had to ask. I had to.
It was not fun. It was terrible.
Bit of magic from Rice and Odegaard plus Valverde, who seems to be a very Arsenal type signing. I wonder if we might get him in real life one day.
Nah, I hope not. Also, I was surprised that season we beat Napoli, we beat Newcastle.
Yep.
It was.
You had a pretty good season actually. I mean, I'm looking at some of those results. I'm quite surprised you lost to Feyenoord.
I was surprised. I think it was just that first leg when we conceded 5.
Yeah.
We just couldn't stop them from scoring. It was.
Were you? I'm just trying to think. Were you
honestly,
ever ahead?
yeah.
No, you were never quite ahead in that second leg, were you? You were three.
No,
Actually, you were 3-1 up.
when he
You
scored
were
in-
3-1 up, so it was level. You were never ahead, but it was level briefly.
When Turco scored in the first minute, I thought, oh, we have a chance.
Then
And
in the 54th as well, because you were level at
yeah,
that point.
I think it's just poor management by me because.
What I was going to say, do you feel like you should have done something differently after you scored that third goal?
I think at that point in my head I thought no way they score another one, right? Because we're 3-1 up. I thought the tactic was good enough that we don't concede, but then we conceded, and then I tried everything in my power.
Yeah,
like, very
I can
attacking,
almost see you
correctness.
panicking in that after that 65th minute goal.
No, when that happened, I tried to bring on attacking subs, try everything, but nothing happened. Nothing worked. I think honestly, I think that season, I honestly blame it on the keeper. I had not the best keeper,
Yeah, I can
which
imagine.
was the one on the bench. He was I don't I think I should have signed a better keeper that season, honestly.
Whereas,
I
if
think
you look if
that's
you look at the
the
next
best thing.
season, the most recent season, the only teams you ever
Yeah.
conceded more than one goal to were PSG and Chelsea. Like you were much better
Yeah.
defensively in that
Yeah.
second season in the Champions League.
Also, the tactic, the 4-3, the one that I just showed, that tactic is really good defensively.
Yeah,
It's so good. I love it.
yeah.
I think
It definitely looks good. I
the
have to say,
only
I saw this
difference,
and I thought this looks like it would work if you got the right players. Particularly, I assume the key players really to get it right are those inverted wing backs because they're going to be crucial, aren't they? Are there any other players in this that you think are particularly important to get right?
yes, the inverted wingbacks. Also, I think the deep lying playmaker,
This guy here, Clemente, in your case.
the deep the deep lying playmaker. I think
Yeah.
deep lying playmaker and the striker. I signed the striker in without in with the Kato in mind that I would be playing him as an advanced forward
Yeah.
with the other tactic. But this tactic, it was working really well when I had a complete forward instead, because he can drop down and sort of help link up the play, and so we have another player in the midfield. I decided to opt for Kato as a advanced forward because I think I felt he was too short to be a complete forward.
Yeah.
But I honestly think I maybe should have just given him a go.
Well, so what
Anyways.
happened to Turco in that last couple of seasons? Well, the last season, because he was banging him in for you for 3 seasons, and then you just didn't play him. Did you just think that Kato was a better player?
Yeah, I signed. I was going through my scouting list. Kato is listed as a wonder kid. Wonder kid signed him, and then he didn't. He didn't do as well as I think.
Well, I was going to say,
he would,
if you look at it, actually,
yeah.
Turco actually did better in the 3 seasons he was your first choice. He did better than Kato did in the last season. So you might be better off sticking with him.
Maybe.
I mean, he got 30 goals
yeah.
in the last. Well, okay, 29 and 30 goals in the previous 2 seasons.
Mm,
Kato only managed 21.
I think also yeah. Maybe I could have stuck with him.
It's easy in hindsight, isn't it? So it's always going to be easy in hindsight, of course.
But Kato did end up as the top scorer in the Bundesliga, I think.
Oh, yeah?
But I think I do
You're right. Yeah.
in FM I do like a physical striker that's taller.
I mean, I generally would
yeah.
agree with you, yeah, which is partly why I was suggesting that I was surprised that you made the change because I like Kato. Don't get me wrong, he's a good player, but it looks to me like you had a better player there already.
Yeah, I just signed him because the wonder kid.
Yeah, no, I completely get that. You always want to excuse me, a wonder kid. Were there any other players in this team who were wonder kids?
No, none of them were because there was I tried to sign
Fortis.
last one.
Sorry, Fort is.
Right?
Fort is. Thomas Fort.
Oh yeah, Fort was Fort was. I also saw Wonder Kid and his stats are insane. I think just put him on a different team, he would have done well.
Yeah.
All my season I tried to sign Mastantuono from River Plate. And he stuck with River Plate the entire time. But he never wanted to join.
He was literally he was the legend of my long RB Leipzig save that I did off stream. He's one of the best players in the game.
Yeah,
I'm just looking at his stats for River Plate now. It's mad.
He's been at River Plate the entire season.
How on earth have they held on to him? That makes no sense.
No, I every time he just doesn't want to join.
That's
I
completely
do
madness.
decently in the Champions League. I win the league. He just doesn't.
I mean,
want to join.
I kind of get him not going to Austria because I think he's probably too good. I just don't understand why he stayed in Argentina.
He's still at River Plate.
That's completely mad.
I was surprised that he stayed at River Plate.
Yeah, I mean, like he's been so good for me in the past. He's actually like he's my kind of name manager in a couple of my saves because it was like he was so good for me for Leipzig. He was such a good player. One of my favourite players of this FM, I would say, Mastantuono. Yeah.
His attributes are insane.
Yeah, he's a really good player.
Yeah. Also with Turco, I think I couldn't play him as a complete forward, but I in the tactic with having that big physical striker up top with the wingers, they tend to swing in crosses. I think I should have played him just because he was bigger
Yeah.
And like his
I think
jumping reach
possibly.
and heading were also really good. So I think I should.
But then again, like
take him in hindsight, yeah.
you won the league anyway, and
Yeah.
would it have made the difference against Chelsea? I kind of doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No,
I
I don't
may
think it would have done.
because in the second game we just got hammered.
Yeah,
Nothing I could have
exactly.
done in the
I
second
don't
game.
think it would have done. You might have got an extra goal, perhaps,
No,
but I don't think.
maybe in the first leg instead of going in behind
Yeah.
down a goal, I think we could have maybe had
Yeah,
2-2
I think
instead.
that's quite possible. But
But
Kato did get you a
Kato
goal.
did score in that
Yeah,
tie.
he did get you a goal. So
Yeah. We can't
swings and
really fault.
roundabouts.
I don't think I could fault Kato.
I
Some games he
as I
keeps
say,
him
I think I would argue I think that the other guy was probably better, but as I say, I just don't know if it would made any difference.
In the Champions League, Kato was really good. He scored in like majority of the games, so
Mm-hmm.
I think it just depends on the fixture, maybe.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to sort of point out to us before we call it a day?
I don't think I have anything else to point out. Yeah,
It was quite the win. I think, as I say, after getting so close to the previous time, I personally, obviously I need to be as unbiased as possible, but from a personal point of view, I was glad to see you go one better this time. That was good to see, and it was so close as well. You and Aldi 3 points in it at the end. You must have been so nervous.
When the first season after he got 200, I was down 58 points. It was a mountain to climb from there.
But even that last season, you were 5 behind him with 1 season to go. You must have thought, I've got to be almost perfect in that last season.
Yeah, I had to be perfect. If I drop the cup,
well, very
I
nearly,
lose out on so many points.
Exactly.
If I drop the league, I lose out on so many points. And
Pretty
then if I drop
much anything.
one of those competitions,
Yeah, pretty much anything.
the board and then fans won't be happy.
Well, even just like not bringing on people like Gassman and Volters for a few games here and there, that would have been the difference because it was 3 points was all was in it, so it could easily have been case.
Once the normal league phase hit, I was looking at all my youth players and thought I have to get him in for this many games so I could get to like the 30 games, so 3 points, or
I think
to the 40 games, so 4 points.
This last season kind of illustrates just how important that can be, because I'm looking at it now and like you've got quite a lot of youth points here and you only won by 3. So what is it?
Yeah.
That's 4, 6.
I think 20-something, 23, I think.
23-ish points, and you've only won by 3. So clearly that was a vital part of it. And I don't know how well Aldi did with that, but I'm guessing he may not have done quite as well.
I remember the end of season 3. I was just looking through my youth academy, seeing who was good and like not good enough to start, but good enough to at least make an appearance off the bench or play in the cup. So I try to get as many in as I could, and then sometimes I couldn't like play them because I had better players that I've signed out from elsewhere. So I had lots of rotation going on. Mm-hmm. So
well, I think that's one way you can really help in terms of keeping the rest of the squad fit as well, because if you can get the games there just by rotating and making substitutions, then you get the points, but you also keep the other players fit as well. It looks to me like you probably made a lot of substitutions. Did you pretty much make 5 in every game?
Oh yeah, basically, if I could make 5, I made 5.
Yeah. I think that certainly in this competition, that's definitely the way to go, and I think it probably is anyway. As I say, just for fitness reasons.
Usually in game, when I see like a player feels tired, I immediately just get them off.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a key player, I try to keep them on as long as possible. But if I could get like a youth player on, I'd get them on immediately, because especially if we're winning, I just get them on.
Well, I often found in games, if there were easy games, like if I was 4-0 up at half time, for example, admittedly it doesn't happen very often.
Just get all of them on.
There have been times I've done 5 substitutions at half time, all of which have been youth academy players, and it's just an easy way that that's basically half a point just straight away.
Exactly. And then especially if it's a weaker side, you also don't risk injury with your key players that you want in like a more difficult fixture. With the rotation of my squad, since I had a lot of players, I sort of put my A team, like look at the fixtures and sort of like plan out which game, like what team I'm putting out for each game.
Yeah.
So if I had a strong game, a tough fixture, then a weak fixture, then a tough fixture after, I'd do like A team, B team, A team, something like that.
So did you
I
actually
think
have?
rotation's really
Did you
important.
ever actually use? You haven't actually got them on there. So because what I think you're absolutely right. That's a really clever way to do it.
Yeah.
You can even save them, can't you? You can like save a team selection so you can switch between them really
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah, I do that, but sometimes even if it's like a an easy fixture, it's still hard for the youth players because they still aren't good enough
Of
to
course.
play.
Yeah. No, you can't. I
Yeah.
mean, like you couldn't have. I don't think a full team of youth players in the Austrian league. I think
No,
in some
no,
leagues you could probably do it.
definitely not. In India, it was really easy to
Yeah.
do.
I think there are definitely some leagues where you could do it, but in Austria you'd be hard pushed, which is why it may well be a challenge at some point in a
Yeah,
league like
yeah,
this.
yeah. Yeah, I think managing like in a league where that's like there's like like an obvious strong team like League N, for example, where PSG they're unbeatable, and you give like a like a bottom half team in the League N, that'd be like a impossible challenge to do to win the league, I think.
I mean, yeah, winning the league in 4 years.
Like SV, yeah, I feel
Probably
like
hard.
this is like similar to something like that, where you're like a bottom side in a top European competition. It's always hard to like overthrow like that one team, like for
Yeah, and
instance,
it's
like Salzburg.
that's certainly the case in Austria. I think probably in Austria it's a bit easier than France, but it's certainly
Oh
more
yeah,
difficult.
definitely.
Yeah.
But it's like similar in that sense, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
no, I agree. And when I saw that SV Reed had been with the team chosen, I was involved in the discussions on that because it was my league.
Yeah.
My thinking was I didn't think more than one player would win a league, but in the end, I
Oh,
think
yeah?
from what I remember, I think 3 of you did.
Yeah.
No, it's just two. You and Aldi were the only ones.
But if Salzburg, if you manage to not lose to Salzburg, I think you'd probably be guaranteed to win the league if you won like every other game.
Well,
too.
yeah, well, absolutely. But certainly when I was doing it with Sturm, I like there were too many other teams that I was often stumbling against. I used to stumble all the time against Wolfsberger. I couldn't beat
Yeah.
Rapid to save my life.
Yeah, well, I was actually the save from the player who had the Sturm Graz save before. When they had like Rooney Bargi, Joe Bellingham in the first season too, it was difficult to beat them too as well.
Were they good?
Sturm Graz in the first season they had a really good squad, but over the seasons it just got worse and worse. They had such a good squad in the first season, but I think without a player managing them, they lost out like all their best players.
Of course, yeah. When it looks like they've had a bit of a tough time since then, certainly. Cause they've had a couple of managers.
Since the first or second season, I destroyed them most of like what I remember.
So I'm looking back now. Oddly enough, he didn't win it in the first season. The previous guy, sorry, he won it in the first season, then he didn't win it again after that, which is strange.
Man, it's probably Salzburg.
Well, yeah, it usually is Salzburg.
Yeah. And then
In fact, yeah, I think Salzburg won every season apart from when a player won the league.
Yeah, exactly. And then I remember in the third season with the 100 goal challenge, I missed out by 5. And then also I was behind the score by 5. I was really I was really devastated because if I just got 5 more goals somehow, because it's usually easier to get as many goals as you can in the first phase of the league because you also play the weaker sides.
Sure.
But then once it hits the champions phase, it's hard to score goals because it's the best sides in Austria. So
that's certainly true.
I wanted to go into the last season with a lead so that instead of me having to do all the work, Aldi had to like do all the catching up, but it was really
didn't quite work.
It would have made things more comfortable in this season at least.
I mean, you certainly defensively, you said that it was a defensive tactic. I'm looking at it now. 22 goals conceded. 5 of them were to Salzburg. So if you ignore Salzburg, you've only conceded 17 goals all season.
Exactly.
It's impressive.
It's so good at keeping goals out.
Yeah. Well done. That's quite an achievement to win the Super League. Only our second winner, which is we'll go down in history now. At this point, don't give too much away. But how do you feel things have started in it's South Korea, isn't it?
Yeah, South Korea. So I'm finding it kind of similar to India because I think I can get away with a lot of stuff I did in the Indian league in the Korean league too.
Yeah.
But also I think some interest like the registration rules, like the how you registered players who are similar to India. But another thing is like the substitution rules. Apparently, you need like an under 22 player in order to unlock 3 or 4 substitutes. And then I had to find that out the hard way because in the first few games I only got 2 subs because I didn't have the under 22. So it's hard to adapt to that at first, and then.
I really like that's a really cool rule. Actually, I like the idea that there's an incentive to play a youngster. It's quite cool.
Yeah, and then I'm done my first season, obviously, and then
don't give away, but yes.
And in the off season, some of my players went to military services.
Oh God, yes.
I was so confused because it says they're on loan to a different side, but in my mind I'm like I didn't loan them out. So I went on a search and apparently they all go to a club called like Gimchong, whatever, and then apparently that's the way for the game to like do military services.
I think that's the case. Yeah, it's a strange one.
Yes. Yeah. So I had a key player go to military services, and I thought I lost him forever. But yeah.
Oh, but so effectively it's a loan, is it?
Yeah, it's a loan for 18 months, I think. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's a really interesting way of doing it. I quite like that. And does that team ever play?
Yeah, they're in the league.
But they don't. The people on military service don't pay for them.
Sorry, I don't know. I'll have to play them this season.
Let me know because I'm curious. It's a weird way of doing it. It's quite clever.
Yeah.
I would have thought it would. I would have thought it would have gone to like a non-playing team or something.
I think that's hard for like FM to do, really.
Yeah.
Like just.
Or just a team that's just not in the database, like a lower division.
Oh
team.
yeah, maybe. Yeah. That'd make more sense, I think.
Probably would, but.
And then I'm experimenting with a different tactic that I'm using in a Spurs save that you must love. Usually I prefer playing 5-back, honestly, because I figured out, I wouldn't say figured out, but like I have an idea, like a grasp on how like 5-back systems work. Mm-hmm. And then once it comes to having an attack like a 4-2-3-1, I found it difficult to understand for me. But like I feel like the 5-back I used for my entire time at India. And even in the qualifiers with Napoli, I used the 5-back in the first 2 seasons. I never thought 5-backs would work that well, but apparently they do. So I might give it a go. I
don't think I've ever had a sort of a really successful season with five at the back, but it's certainly something I might try at some point. So if you've got 3 really good central defenders, excuse me, if you've got 3 really good central defenders, it does definitely make sense.
I don't think it's if you have 3 good central defenders. I think if you just have a lot of them.
Yes,
exactly. Because I was assessing. Usually, when I start a save, I usually look at the players that's already there, and just base off my tactic off of that. And in Napoli and India, there are a lot of center backs, so I just went with a 5-back.
Makes a lot of sense as well, being Italy.
Yeah, and it worked.
Great. Well, it's been great talking to you, and congratulations. Good luck for the next season of, the current edition now, I suppose, of Super League.
I'll find out how I did tonight.
You will indeed. Those of you who are not watching live, we're recording this about just over 4 hours before the deadline. So if you are watching live, get your results in if you haven't already. I know you already have, mate. But I think quite a few. I think we're waiting for about 7 at the moment, from what I remember. 2, 4. 7, 8. There are 8 people who, the last time I checked anyway, we were 8 people who are still to submit. So get your results in now, guys. But Vitasoy, thanks for joining me, and good luck.
You for having me.
I'm sure we'll see you again soon.
Yep.
See you later.
Yep.